recap. We're going to actually be discussing a topic that I think a lot of traders have some serious issues with, is when not to take a trade, when to be extra cautious, even though, you may have been doing really well for the past couple of few weeks or however long, it doesn't matter. When to really start laying off the brakes and finally let the market pick that ultimate direction. And I think it's a real good point. And before we get into the charts, it's not necessarily going to be a trade recap. I want to fire up DOS here, and I need to sign my my data forms. Obviously, I don't have time to do that right now, so I'm going to do that later this evening or first thing in the morning. So we'll get into the charts. So it's not necessarily a trade recap. For members that were in the room, obviously, you know what we took, locked in for 1,040. 1440. No, 1,040 is what I locked in on the morning session on SPY on a quick little trade. We're going to discuss it, but we're going to be going into more so the bigger point of interest here this evening as to when not to take that trade. Okay, so let's get into the charts now. Okay, so today in the market, we had ultimately a pretty big gap up. You can see on Qs, we gapped up into an area not quite what we wanted. The trend on this actually is way the hell up here. So that's the next level of resistance up. Now on SPY, the next level of resistance up is way up. We did have pre-market highs, and that's it. So pre-market highs is all we had to go off of. That's not a good thing. Generally speaking, when it comes to support and resistance, you want multiple areas where I consider them brick walls. The more brick walls you have, the stronger those brick walls of support or resistance are. So if you're only dealing with one, and it has to do with pre-market, which is some of the lowest level support or resistance out there because it's very low volume. Support and resistance works because of volume. Keep that in mind. Like, that's the best piece of advice I can give you is any support and resistance levels that you are going to be watching, you should be watching ones with a ton of volume because you know it's going to be protected. It's going to be literally like a brick wall when it hits, okay? It'll bounce off of it. So today, all we had was pre-market highs. That's not a good thing. So with that said, I immediately told the members I'm not a huge fan of the way that this market is setting up. Now, some people will say, well, on big gap ups, it always sells off. Stop that. That is like unprofessional newbie bullshit is what that is. It doesn't have to do that. There's a lot of variables that can happen, and I'll explain a couple. So if you have a big gap up in a market that's already extended, where retail traders perceive it as extended, you're going to have a lot of shorts pile in, and then that's how markets continue up. Now, generally speaking, yes, when you have a big gap up where it blasts over a range like that, you're going to get a sell-off into support, and that's a good thing. So you can get the trade off of support, or you can hopefully get some sort of a short setup. Now, we didn't get that short setup, not really. Now, we have a setup that we could have taken short, but right now I'm trying to lead by example because what we have started is our size up program. And it's a program to get all of our members to size up properly, actually properly. And the beautiful thing is it's working absolutely beautifully. So I don't want my members throwing away their perfect record, their perfect score, their extreme amount of discipline and patience on a trade that doesn't matter. There's not going to be necessarily a lot of meat on the bone until you wait for that right setup. Now, that right setup did come later on today around noon, okay? And that setup was this. Now, all morning, as soon as it broke this level, and I'll get into the trade here in a minute, but as soon as it broke this level and it came down into the previous close. Now, yes, you can take that trade long on that previous close on SPY, because what's going to happen is generally if it is going to break that, remember that previous close is a big fucking deal when we're dealing with markets like this. Okay. It's not just a previous close. That is its last line of defense. It needs to hold that. So now there becomes other steps. Now, no more playing checkers, guys. You got to start playing chess. The bigger picture trade is the short, but you need to wait for it. If this market is truly weak, okay, it's going to show you its hand of cards. And what's going to happen is it will have to test range highs right here, this level at 534.61. It needs to. When I say needs to, it will. It's just a matter of time during the day. And I told my members that. And what happened later on? That's exactly what it did. And it tested it multiple times until finally giving up. It's free money, guys. That's the trade to take. Now, I wasn't around later on in order to really capitalize on the trade I really wanted. Now, what I would have done, I was watching it in here, and then it started selling off again where my cursor is. I'll zoom in a little bit. Oops, sorry, a little bit more for you guys so then you can see. So I was watching it in here for the push into this level. As soon as it did that, I would have entered in short, set a hard stop, and walked away, and then finally went up to the farm. For those of you that don't know and are joining me, I have properties all over here in Costa Rica, and I have to go deal with my farm in the morning. I have to go tend to my animals and everything else. So I've got a little fucking hobby farm. It's not like I'm a full-blown farmer or something, but it's something that I have to do every morning. So I wanted to wait for that. As soon as it started selling off, I'm like, no, I don't have time for it. I got to go. So is what it is. And then I didn't get back until later. And then it finally tested right around noon and then again at 1 p.m. Even if you took this first trade here right around noon and it pulled about a point. So on the option side of things, that would probably be about 40, 50% minimum. Okay. Would have been a beautiful trade. And then if you were really patient on this one, that's the trade. So that's what I'm talking about. And this is where it really pays to pay for a coach, guys. I know there's a lot of people out there that are so dead set against trading services because my predecessors have made it very difficult for someone that is actually a genuine professional trader. You guys have been fucked a million times, so I get it. But sometimes you need to put your trust in someone one more time. Trust it. Trust it. You're going to learn things you never thought imaginable in trading when you learn from someone correctly. Just like every sports, professional sports player, professional athlete, high-level CEO, they all have some sort of level of coach or mentor. Okay, it's important stuff, guys. Don't think for a second that you can just kind of waltz your way through one of the hardest jobs on the planet without help. That's ridiculous. It's an idea and a thought so based in ego and fear, it's ridiculous. So now to kind of get back into the trade that we did take. So we did take a trade, okay? It's a very quick trade. So we had speed and distance into the level and it came right into the 9 EMA. I know it doesn't look like much, but on the options contracts, that was still about 10, 15%. Why not pick up free money? And if you take a look at every single level, the support hit, the resistance hit, the support hit, and then later the resistance hit, okay? Then the support hit here too. The resistance hit here too. That's what I'm talking. When you actually understand natural movement theory, which is proprietary to Tricktrades, you understand that you will always have first tests, just like this. Every test, you will have something. Now, some people will look at this and be like, well, that's not a lot. It's not about the amount. It's about the strategy and the odds. If you could walk down the street and pick up a $100 bill, a $20 bill, would you? Or would you be like, it's only 20 bucks. I'm going to keep fucking walking. Do you understand? Like, people need to start thinking as a trader in the markets. You really need to start thinking as an adult. Okay. Now, I know people, when they first get into this, they want to treat this like a hobby, and they lose that adult mentality almost. It's fucking strange, man. There's a real strange disconnect when it comes with trading and what it is and what people think it is. Okay, it's a very difficult job in order to do consistently. You need to be extremely disciplined and patient. So to take this trade, wasn't a big trade, but like I said, made $1,040 on this trade with my sizing. Members that took it, they made a few bucks, easy peasy. They can now progress on to the next day. It's all about the next day, guys. And some of you will look at this and be like, well, could have taken that long. You're right, could have, but that's not the bigger picture idea. You're missing things. On a day like today, what you want is you want it to prove and reprove and prove again. You need to wait for the market to show you exactly what it's going to do, because you know what? It will. And it does it every single day. So was this a day to take absolutely no trades? Not necessarily. There's definitely trades there, but it's about waiting for the right trade. And you need to be comfortable and more importantly, confident in yourself and believe in yourself enough and have self-respect to not take those shitty fucking trades, because far too many traders out there are constantly in these shitty fucking trades. They want to just search for a trade. Could you find one? Sure. I could pick any ticker in the stock market and find a trade on it as long as there's volume there. Test me. I'll show you. On any given day I could. But it's not about searching. I don't want to search for shit. I want to make this, the hardest job on the planet, as easy as possible. And I think that that's a big key factor and a big key point that a lot of people are missing. So again, sorry for not having charts and everything else up. I will post the charts up later as soon as I get all those stupid documents signed. Fuck, I hate when they do that. That's one of the most annoying things, because there's no warning to it. You go to fire up and then all of a sudden now you're fucking scrambling to sign fucking data documents and shit. It's the most annoying thing. I've signed them once. I've signed them 1,000 times. Just keep my shit on file and that's it. Drives me crazy. It's one of my pet peeves in the stock market, but those are the small price to pay for this level of freedom and success. So on that note, folks, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening and I'll check in with you guys later. Adios.